Bill Plaschke, Tim Kalishaw, Kevin Blackistone, Bob Ryan. Today, Zen rebuffed, pressure reacclimatized. Lucic on the handshake line. And a press conference.
Yes? Coach, hey, coach.
Where nothing happened.
I want to ask you about...
He's okay! He's okay! You people, ask a question. Do a job, ask a question.
Welcome to Around the Horn. Here's Tony Reali.
All right. Plaschke, Kalishaw, Blackistone, Ryan. If I had a bet, there was one man on the panel that shakes a hand like Lucic, I'd say Plaschke. And I'd say Kalishaw is more of a dead fish. Take my fingers, please. We'll get to that in a second. First.
It's the first word.
Steve Kerr. No to Phil and the Knicks. Yes to Steph and the Warriors. The logic Golden State owner Joe Lakers throwing out there right now that Kerr, the object of everybody's affection despite 0 career games coached, could work because another man, another former player, another former broadcaster hired without any experience worked in the NBA, and that man, Mark Jackson, the man he just fired. Let's start out with Bob here. Is this more about the Warriors landing Kerr or the Knicks and Phil losing out on Kerr?
Maybe I'm a minority view here, but I think the Warriors getting Kerr away from the Knicks was very important. But it makes perfect sense. I don't understand why anybody would be surprised he would make this choice. The team is better, and it's going to be better for the next couple of years, guaranteed. The team is better. The whole atmosphere is better. And all the family stuff, if we can take him at face value when we have no reason to not to. He's got all the family reasons why it makes perfect and personal reasons why it makes sense to stay on the West Coast. So I just think shouldn't have been a big issue to start with. Once the Warriors entered the picture, I figured he was going to the Warriors.
Blackstone.
Well, that's all logically correct and it makes plenty of sense. Logically, you're right. But this is all about the Knicks and Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's the biggest off-season acquisition, not even the off-season yet, biggest acquisition in the NBA in a long time. Everybody's waiting to see what Phil's going to do next. He goes to the Knicks. The Knicks have James Dolan there. Everybody said that this was going to, Phil Jackson's there, this means a big change for James Dolan. He's going to let him do what he wants to do. And the whole thing about Phil Jackson being there was who he could attract as a coach and who he could attract as a player. And now his biggest fish, who he thought he had on the line, a guy who he has created into the next great coach in the NBA, Steve Kerr, is not going to go there.
But Bob, you question the size of that fish because Kerr has no coaching experience.
My thing is, he's replaceable. We don't know what he's going to be. But Phil, yeah, I understand all that stuff with Phil's personal prestige and all that. Fact of the matter is, there's an equivalent of Steve Kerr out there, and he has a chance to find him.
Kalishaw, join us.
But I think it's all about the Knicks because, look, Phil Jackson has been hired to do something he's never done, and so he goes out and tries to get a coach who's never coached. The whole thing seems rather silly. And then the Warriors, Joe Lacob says, well, we've done this before in terms of hiring a coach who hadn't been a coach, and it worked. Well, you just fired the guy that you said it worked with, so how exactly did it work? But I question Kerr a little bit. I understand, hey, if you want to stay in California, stay in California, but the challenge was with the Knicks. You go to the Warriors, Mark Jackson won 51 games. How many games is Steve Kerr going to win? 52? That team is not set to go up to a higher level. The Knicks are down here. He could have made history by
Bill
pulling them up.
Plaschke, your thoughts?
I think it's important to note that he didn't say no to Phil Jackson. He said no to the Knicks. Right. And this is all about the Knicks. How, even Phil's coming in, all his magic and everything. Even Phil right now is not bigger than the eyesore that is the Knicks. Even Phil can't calm fears about playing for the Knicks. Phil, again, all as great as he is, Steve Kerr said, you know what? You're great, but your organization it must not be good enough. It's not good enough as Golden State's. I'm going to Golden State.
Well, let me ask you this then, Bill, and you know this is coming. Well, he didn't land the first coach that he wanted. Why doesn't Phil become coach of the Knicks? You have an answer there?
Physically, Phil just can't do it anymore. He can't take the travel. He can't take the grind. His body won't hold up. I think he's going to hire Derek Fisher is what I think he's going to do.
Kalishaw?
I tend to agree with Plaschke, although the travel coaching in New York is much, much less than the travel coaching out west. So there might be a way to do it.
Bob, Phil, coaching? Anything on that?
Unlike most people, I believe that the Warriors can be improved, are good enough right now with the personnel in place, 1 through 7, to go to the conference finals next year with a better coach.
But Phil, the idea of Phil coaching the Knicks, you want to answer that?
Oh, no, the health thing is paramount. He can't do it.
Blackstone.
No, he's not descending from that front office.
Okay, Flashky, last word?
Yeah, Tim, it's not like you're traveling on trains or walking to games. There's still airplanes in the East. It's still different.
I'm trying to get you guys to talk about Phil coaching, and all you guys care about is trains and planes people are taking. We'll move on. Tonight, Game 6 in Los Angeles. Must win for the Clippers? Question mark. Celebrities will be on hand. Pressure will be on Chris Paul and on Doc Rivers and on Durant and Westbrook. And how about the pressure on Monty McCutcheon, Jim Capers, and Ed Malloy, who are reffing tonight's ballgame? Who is the most important human being in tonight's Game 6, Flashky?
You know, I wanted to say the referees because, again, I think it's going to be they're going to really overcompensate for what they feel like maybe they did against Clippers. But bottom line, it's about Chris Paul. Chris Paul in his 9th NBA season has never been as far as a conference final. This is Chris Paul's team. This is his, he's got 2 shots now, elimination game back against the wall. He made more errors, more mistakes in the last minute of the game of Game 5 than he made the entire playoffs combined just about. And that's the thing. After the game, he admitted he screwed up. And people agreed with him. I mean, people agreed. Chris Paul, that was his game. He did help give that game away. This is his team. This is his moment. It's about Chris Paul.
What's his psyche like right now, Bill?
You know, he's such a tough guy. He's not like the guy you see on the commercials. He's really a tough guy. I think he's going to be hard. I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to have a great game, actually.
Kalisha?
I want to take every word Plaschke just says and take out the Chris Pauls and put in Russell Westbrook's, because that would be the correct answer. He is the point guard that this series is all about. He is the one who is in position to make history. Nobody since Oscar Robertson has averaged 27, 8, and 8 throughout a postseason. Russell Westbrook is doing it, and he can match Chris Paul mistake for mistake, too, so he could be just as big going the other direction. So he's the key player on the court.
Why did you feel the need to name Oscar's last name Robertson, like Blackstone
I said
was
Oscar,
waiting on Oscar
and then I
to
thought
grab
some of our
Oscar
younger
Madison.
viewers maybe thinking Oscar
Stone, where are you on this?
I want to go with who Bill Plaschke actually wrote about today, and that's Doc Rivers. I think all the pressure is on him. I thought he made an amazing statement in his emotion and anger at the end of the last game when he said this could be a series-ending officiating mistake, defining mistake. Don't kill your team right now. Now you're the one who has to go in there and rally the troops and make sure that the long face comes off of Chris Paul. He looked like it was all over in that press conference. I mean, you're the one who was brought in there to take this team to the next level because everyone thought that you're the kind of coach in this league because of the ring on your finger that you can do this kind of thing.
And Bob Ryan,
so he's the most important
human being in the building tonight for you?
In the end, it's still just a basketball game in a series in which there are a lot of marquee people, a lot of drama on both sides. But I'm none of the above. I think it's going to be the team that gets to lift from an unexpected party or an auxiliary party, and the most likely person to do that is Jamal Crawford, the reigning Sixth Man of the Year, who always is ready with a 25-point game jumping out of him. And I think that's what's going to happen tonight.
But you want to address the pressure here on Chris Paul. That's where this conversation
I don't want to
started.
hear Chris Paul. You know what?
An elite player in the NBA having the last minute that he had last game and now facing
in 1984, Magic earned a temporary nickname of Tragic. So, I mean, and he got over it, and Chris Paul will get over it, too.
But Bob, how does Chris Paul? He's never been to the level that Magic has. That's the thing. He's probably one of the most unnoticed great stars in the NBA, and he'll never get to that big stage if he can't pull it off tonight.
Kalisha, there's a horn, so we need a prediction here. Who you got tonight?
Well, my prediction is going to be based on my second choice, which would be the league MVP that nobody's mentioned. Kevin Durant has a big game. Oklahoma City wins the game.
Blackstone, who you got?
I'm taking Oklahoma City.
Bob Ryan.
We're going 7. Clips.
All right, Flashky, make a pick.
We're going 7. It's the Clips. They're going to hang on at home.
Okay. Bill, 10.
Not over.
Kalisha, 8. Blackstone, 8. Ryan, 7. We've been home. We're taking a break. Buy or sell next. Coming up, the words coming out of the mouth connected to the hand that vigorously shook the other hand. Lucic just venting last night after elimination. I love this. I would watch an entire game of handshake lines. An entire sport of handshake. Well, the sport of handshake is long and complicated.
Buy or sell.
Flashky 10, Kalisha 8, Blackstone 8, Ryan 7. It's buy or sell, and it's the handshake controversy. Lucic and Weiss. That's sturdy and icy. Lucic and Emlin, equally robust. Weiss told reporters afterwards Lucic was disrespectful. Lucic afterwards thought talking about what happened on the ice was disrespectful. You can see what Bruce Arthur thought was said. Who are you buying? Who are you selling here, Flashky?
I'm selling Lucic. That's one of the coolest things in sports is the handshake line. And I know a lot of players would love to yell at each other after games like this, and nobody ever does. You don't do it.
Shaw.
Milan Lucic, disrespectful of the game, disrespectful of his opponents. I've seen a lot of series that were a lot more physical. There was more nastiness in some Colorado-Detroit series and things. And players, they can do it. He can do it.
Blackstone.
You know what? I'll buy the whole thing just because no punches were thrown. It was just a bunch of words, and it is amazing to me and commendable to hockey players that in the heat of a battle, Game 7, that afterwards, like a snap, they're supposed to turn off the emotion.
Ryan.
The Canadians lose me by using the stupid, disrespectful card, but I'm not buying Lucic either because, as Bill says, you do the right thing at that moment. That's what a hockey player does. He shakes hands and moves on.
And then after, if you're Dino Cicerelli, you say, I can't believe I shook the guy's friggin' hand, like you said about Claude Lemieux. Love that.
After.
We'll move on. For the second night in a row, a slap on the hand, out of bounds, replay, inconclusive ruling. After that, shotless Joe Johnson, Nets lose. Highest payroll in the NBA history out. Mikhail Prokhorov's statement today. He thanked the team for clawing back into contention and vowed to pick up where they left off. What now for the Kalish show? What now for the Nets Kalish show? Where are they leaving off?
Thank you for asking me. Get ready for the Mirza Teletovic era. It's going to be a lot of fun. I would say if I thought Darren Williams was actually tradable, you could having won the Derby to get him, you could move him and get stuff. But I don't even think he's tradable right now.
Okay. Blackstone.
Well, they're going to have to get rid of a lot of those parts. Paul Pierce will probably be gone. You know, they can build around Lopez. He was out for most of this year. You know, Darren Williams, you probably want to move him and keep Livingston. He looked very comfortable in that point guard spot, but they got a lot of money.
That's true to say move Darren Williams here. Bob Ryan, is that even possible?
I don't know if it's possible because his stock has dropped so much from the point when he was considered to be the equal of Chris Paul a few years ago. Bill King is in big trouble. Billy King is in major, major trouble. No draft picks. They're just going to stink, period. They're going to stink.
Flash piece.
You know, I agree with Bob. I don't know any way out of this. They invested everything into the season. It didn't work out. And again, trading Darren Williams, the kind of money he makes and the kind of impact he has, that's going to be very difficult. And,
they did invest everything into the season. The way it started, I mean, that was a dumpster fire. They did claw back, like Prokhorov said. Anything to be said about that? Was this season on some small level?
They never should have gone. No, because they never should have gone bad in the first place.
Fire Cell 3, the high school pitcher in the state of Washington who threw 194 pitches over 14 innings Tuesday. His name is Dylan Fosnot. His exchange with Tampa Bay Rays pitcher David Price on Twitter, with Price calling him a beast, telling him to be a bit smarter, and also, your coach should be fired. Rochester manager Jerry Striegel had Centralia Chronicle told that he talked to Fosnot every inning to make sure he was okay. And he told Big League Stu this morning he realizes it was way too many pitches, and he is concerned about his pitcher. Can you possibly buy a 194-pitch outing, KB?
Absolutely not. I couldn't buy 228 pitches from Tom Chaney for the Washington Senators in 1962. Dave Schein in the Washington Post wrote a great piece about youth pitching and the strain that it's putting on kids. This is example.
Right, you just compared it to a major league pitcher 50 years ago. Bob Ryan, 194 pitches for a high schooler?
Who struck out 21 men in that game, KB, by the way. Now, in this case, there's one little asterisk here, though. The kid is 5'7", 135, has no future in baseball, says, if I throw my arm out, so what? How about that?
So you think...
So I'm buying the idea that the kid knew what he was doing, but the coach was still stupid.
So the kid should be the one making decisions here, not the coach?
No, but the kid didn't care, but the coach should be making the decision for him.
Flashy.
So I want it both ways.
Bob, how about that? Well, for one thing, the kid maybe wants to play catch with his children when he gets older. Maybe he wants to be able to lift his arm above his head when he gets older. This is a health risk. The coach should never have let him throw as many pitches. With all the more than 30 professional players have had Tommy John surgery just since February. With all the knowledge we have about this, the coach really let him down.
Yeah, I thought we were past the Kerry Wood approaching 200 pitches in a high school game era of baseball, especially with all the Tommy John surgeries. Every coach in high school and college can read about. I don't care about the kid's future, whether he had one or not. A coach can't make that
decision. There are rules
in
high school for a certain number of innings in a week, certain number of innings in a start. Pitch count rules, something we might see in the future?
Absolutely. I think that this is a good sign for that, yes.
Bob Ryan, you wanted it both ways on the last bite or so. You know what happens next. First to go.
There's another chapter in my future bestseller, Great 30 Seconds You Never Heard.
You want to give us a little hint of what it was, Bob?
What's going to be?
I guess not. Flashy Kalish Blackstone, lightning round next. Coming up,
great out.
Jose Abreu's power numbers right now. Woo! Woo! They're where Puig was for all last season. Where's the love for Abreu this year? Also, what to expect when you're expecting the unexpected, unpredictable, underwhelming Pacers-Wizards. Sport! Lasky 16, Blackistone 15, Kalishaw 14. Anybody's ball game in the Lightning. Which Pacers, which Wizards will show up tonight? Anybody's guess. Road record for these two teams this postseason, 9-2, Bill. Are you calling a road advantage tonight?
I don't know about a road advantage, but I am calling a Pacers after a loss advantage. The Pacers are 4-0 in the postseason after the game, after they've had a loss. All you need to do is shake this team up.
So you think they close it out in Washington?
I do think they close it out.
You, Kalishaw?
Yeah, no, I just can't trust the Pacers at all now. I might trust them when we get to Game 7. The Wizards win at home in Game 6 tonight.
Blackistone.
I'm not going to pick against my home team. What are you, crazy? This team is going to reverse its horrible fortunes at home. I think they found something in pounding the boards against the Pacers last time. I think they're going to win and force us to a Game 7.
Jose Abreu, 15 home runs, 41 RBI, his first 42 games. That's a 58-158 pace. Tanaka, 6-0. That's an undefeated pace, which is exactly what he was last year in Japan in the regular season. Who has impressed you more, Kalishaw?
Both have been great. Give me Abreu. He's doing something that hasn't been done since Wally Berger in 1930 did 15 homers, 40 RBIs in his first 40 games. And he's doesn't have a lot of protection.
Is that right? Wally Berger. Go ahead, Blackistone.
I know Tanaka hasn't lost in a very, 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 very long time, but Abreu is out there every single day, 41 and 42 for those RBIs, leading the league, 15 home runs, including that 3-run shot the other day to win the game. I like a guy who's out there every day.
Plashke.
Fellas, 66 strikeouts, 7 walks. Undefeated on this biggest stage in baseball, with the world watching, the most heralded free agent signing this offseason. Tanaka has done what Abreu's done, but double that under the lights.
So you give him credit because he's doing it under so many eyeballs,
Absolutely.
or so much attention, although I should take points away from all of you. In fact, I will, for not giving Abreu the attention he deserves.
Yeah.
So,
Kalishaw,
never
16.
catch 22 there.
Next to go with the last word.
Well, my money's on Kevin. Blackistone here.
Blackistone, that'll be a showdown. 2 enter, only 1 will leave. Straight ahead. California Chrome's call. Put. Plashke, Blackistone, Plashke. Anyone ever tell you guys you look alike?
Yeah, it's the old days.
He's kind of
I've grown out of that.
the mirror image right now. 3 quick ones and then 30 seconds to face. Good luck to you both. Showdown 1, Eric Spoelstra's media availability pregame yesterday. He sat down. No one asked anything. He said nothing. He got up. He left. Bill, who's the big winner here? The coach, the reporters, or fans?
Well, about Spoelstra's thumbs, it seems like he's the winner. The loser could be the reader and the public, because I know we run out of questions a lot of times. Somebody's got to ask something, or one of these days they're going to close that room down before the game.
There's no loser here. We're all winners here. He's already talked to the press once. There was nothing else left to say. As we like to say in journalism, KISS. Keep it short, simple.
But they will close that room down, KB, if you don't ask questions.
Man, oh man, Blackistone. What a pass you just gave all the reporters in that room. Do your job. Ask a question.
They've already done it.
And don't let it start with talking about
What?
it.
You're right about that.
We'll move on. Showdown 2. Dodgers backup catcher Drew Butera. Pitching and dealing last night. 1-2-3 inning. Threw 11 pitches. 8 of them were strikes. He struck out Marcell Ozuna. Would you consider a catcher-to-pitcher transition here if you're Butera, KB?
Absolutely. It's time to do it. You know why? He said the last time he pitched was in high school, but only when his father, Sal, who played in the major leagues, was not around because he was afraid he was going to hurt his arm. The kid is fresh. This is what we talked about.
Also,
he doesn't have a bad arm.
The fact that he's batting .231 may also lead you to believe that might be a good little switch. He and his father, Sal, have combined for 4 hitless innings in their major league pitching careers. Father Sal is also a catcher. Very cool.
That was more information than I thought we were going to get right there. That's some good research you did there, Plashke. He did pitch 2 years ago, Blackistone. That was the last time he pitched. Struck out Carlos Gomez in that.
Working on 2 years rest.
Yeah. Showdown 3. California Chrome's cough. Trainer says he heard it after a 1.5-mile gallop today in the mist in Baltimore. diagnosed as a throat blister. How concerning is this? For the bid for the Triple Crown, Plashke.
You know, I'd be concerned, but this horse is so fast. He could have blown his nose at the Derby and stopped and thrown away the Kleenex and still won the Derby. He can have a little bit of a cold. I think that's just fine.
That was the slowest Derby win on a fast track since like 1974. You got to remember, we are in a pollen vortex down here in this area. The tree pollen, which wasn't able to escape earlier because of long winter, is all out now. We got oaks and maples and all this stuff. It's hard to breathe down here for everybody.
Again, more information than I thought we were going to get in that answer.
Or that we wanted.
A point for your pollen vortex, but the score 2-1, Plashke. 30 seconds of face time to Los Angeles.
The NBA made a statement today. They fined Doc Rivers $25,000 for his pounding and ripping of officials the other night. It was a statement not because it was so much, but because it was so little. They could have fined him a lot more. And I criticized Doc for going overboard on ripping referees and putting his team in a tough position. But overall, Doc Rivers has been the best thing about the NBA this postseason. He's been the NBA loves him for being such a stand-up guy. He's spoken for the Clippers during these tumultuous times when the Clippers couldn't speak for themselves. He's been a great face, a great professional. He's done a great job. $25,000 is almost a tribute to what kind of job he's done.
A tribute. Okay, interesting.
Thank you.
And you had the Mike Cousin biological clock ticking like this. Nicely done. Plashke. That's going to do it, folks. Thanks for coming around. We're on a 23.5-hour break. I see Kalishaw laughing there. We'll see you tomorrow around the horn. Kalishaw had his car towed. Tell them, Timmy, he had his car towed from his backyard.